Get starting. Hope you like my new look, the gray look. I'm trying to uh, try and grow a gray beard, celebrating my midlife, but at the same time, it's also what do you call? Probably just a symbol of how bloody busy we have been, and trying to cater to the new demand that is coming out for New Zealand and pent up demand for New Zealand. I hope that light is better. Yeah, hopefully that's better. So now it's been a great few months now for us ever since the government of New Zealand announced and said that they're going to open up the borders again to various people, not necessarily just international students, but skilled migrants, accredited employer, work visa holders, to investors, to entrepreneurs, and to everybody. So yeah, here we are back in New Zealand, and New Zealand is opening up one more time. And so today's topic is called life-changing benefits of studying in New Zealand. That's what the topic is for today. And before I get into the topic itself, just a little bit of background about myself. I moved to New Zealand in 2001, and this is I call it 2001 uh, BC because this was before children. And now I have three beautiful daughters who are all growing up here in New Zealand. But I moved here in 2001 with my young wife at that time, and then we came here and we realized what a beautiful, beautiful place it is to be. Interestingly, just before I came to New Zealand, I spent a fair amount of time in the US and UK. Um, and then I came to New Zealand. And while I really enjoyed being in the US and and also being in UK, this was phenomenal. I don't know that when I landed in New Zealand, there was kind of a different feel in my body and in my mind. It was almost like I don't know how to say it. It's like you find a treasure box kind of a feeling is what happened to me. And I absolutely loved everything about the place. And so while I had an opportunity to go back either to the US or to UK, I decided I'll try and stay on in New Zealand. And part of our trip was of course to see if New Zealand was going to be a good place for us to stay. And I think almost immediately we decided yes, we're going to stay here. So yeah, we liked it so much we decided to make some babies. And in the first year, our firstborn was born here in New Zealand, and she was born in a city called Hamilton, and that's why I still live in Hamilton because we have that sort of physical and emotional and almost a spiritual connect to Hamilton City. But now, great place, and everything has been going very, very well for us ever since then. And I liked it so much, I decided to set up a company to help other deserving people who can come to New Zealand and make it their home and enjoy all the great benefits that this country has to offer. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait to see if we can have some questions which I can answer rather than me just sitting here and giving a long lecture. So we have Stanley Murphy saying hi. Hi, Stanley. And Log On with Rishi saying, thanks to your team, I'm here. Thank you, Log On, Rishi. I'm so glad that we could be of help to you. And I am yet to see any other comments on Facebook. So I don't know how I can see comments on Facebook. Guys, you probably realize I'm a middle-aged man who struggles with technology sometimes. And then there is, oh yeah, I can see the comments now. So there's Kalpit Asta Saigal saying hi. Hi, Kalpit. And Niranjan Fernando saying hi. Hi, Niranjan. Lovely to say hello to you again. And yeah, so while I'm waiting for some questions, and Rishi says on YouTube, he says waiting for 2 years has paid off. Trust me, Rishi, good decision. And the I think one of the most important things that people don't recognize or realize about the immigration process is that it's very long. It's kind of elongated. It is takes a while. It's a bit frustrating, to be honest. It's not easy. It really tests us with our patience sometimes and our resilience. But like Rishi said, if you can hang in there and get through this process with good advisors like AJV Global, and make it happen, it can pay off very, very well. And I'm glad that I don't have Rishi's full name because he seems to be having his online name here. But I hope, Rishi, you're enjoying yourself in New Zealand because it's got so much to offer. And maybe I should have made you the co-host because Rishikesh. Of course, it had to be Rishikesh. What else can Rishi be short for? Especially starting with an H. Don't tell me your last name is Mukherjee. That'll be funny because I'm big into movies, and Rishikesh Mukherjee was always one of my favorite directors. So anyhow, a lot of benefits. See, I am 53 at the moment, turning 54 very shortly, and I've lived in New Zealand for more than 2 decades. And man, this place has got so much to offer. So if I were to look at myself individually, there's so much to offer. I still play cricket and competitive cricket, not just the uncle cricket, which you go play on the. I'm actually still playing competitive cricket. I put on my wicket keeping gloves, and I'm playing with a bunch of young blokes. And I'm still their wicket keeper. I open or either I open the batting or I go 3 or 4 and still do that. So I'm still enjoying what I used to enjoy in my younger days. Uh, I do a lot of trekking. I do a lot of other outdoor activities. Plus, I've also established a very successful business in New Zealand uh, because New Zealand is rated to have there is something called the World Bank report of ease of doing business, and in that, New Zealand is always rated very, very high. We are either one or two. So I run a successful business, which is what I'm doing right now. Not there's not business, and I'm just saying I've established a business as part of which I. So I earn enough money. I live well. My wife works, does her own job. She's not really involved with my company. My 3 beautiful daughters are all grown up and doing their own thing. So yeah, so for me individually, professionally, to start a business and earn money has been relatively good and simple and easy, except for bloody COVID, of course. But otherwise, it's been good. Uh, I enjoy a lot of personal freedom and stuff. I love long drives and adventures. So, this country offers me all that stuff. For my wife, it's been very, very good because she's found her own career and her own set of friends and stuff. My 3 kids are having the best time of their life. One of them, in fact, has already gone away from home. And she lives in another country altogether. And yeah, and sorry, these bloody phones have the of a way of ringing at the wrong time. But yeah, that's how it is. So let's see if there are any questions. Mm. So I have Christine saying money is high. Okay, and then Ranjan says, hope you have escalated the inquiry from aliens regarding recent developments, vetting response to the earliest. Niranjan, unfortunately, this is not a forum for me to discuss what is happening with your application, Niranjan, because first and foremost, I'm not dealing with it myself individually. So your case officer, I'm sure from HV Global, has already done that. Fantastic. And then Kalpit asks, I'd applied for New Zealand visa on 11th August. So by when I will get the confirmation, as I have no. Again, Kalpit, you haven't given any details about whether you applied it through AJV Global or you did it through somebody else or you did it by yourself. So if you did it through AJV Global, just check with the case officer from my team, whoever is handling your application, and I'm sure you will get that. Okay, but guys, I really would like some questions, about what it is like to live in New Zealand because I love talking about New Zealand and all the great things. So I have one question from Manuel. Um, he says, I'm based offshore now as I left New Zealand in 2018. I want to study a PG diploma in business level 8 or 9 in New Zealand. This would be my second time to study in New Zealand. I have done level 7 diploma in business in 2015. Do I get job search visa? Yeah, absolutely. manually if you're coming for a level 8 or a 9, and if you have the requisite IELTS score, which would be 6.5 with in academic with no band less than 6 in either reading, writing, speaking, or listening, then absolutely you'd be eligible. So why don't you just send your CV with the contact details to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will gladly pick it up and give you some information. But again, this session is all about how bloody good it is to live in New Zealand. So if you have any questions around that, I'll be happy to answer. Kalpit has confirmed that he has applied through AJV. Thank you, Kalpit. You are a very, very smart young man to choose AJV Global. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. But hey, guys, seriously, we're good at what we do. We really are good at what we do. I've been in this industry now for 20 years, and if you kind of go back to the replay back the start of this video, I told you I came to New Zealand after living in the US and UK and working there. And when I came here, I still found it to be one of the best destinations on earth. And that's why uh, I chose to live here and stay back here. And that's why I started this company to help other deserving people like Niranjan and Kalpit and Manuel and everybody else to come into this country and enjoy all the great joys and blessings. And when we talk about blessings, as migrants, when we go to a new country, we are thinking about safety. Is there a gun culture? Will somebody come and kill me or shoot me? Or at the back of our heads, we are thinking, will there be racism? Will I be accepted? Will I be looked out as an outsider? So on and so forth. Just to touch on these two things, the interesting thing about New Zealand is that even our cops do not wear guns here in New Zealand. So even our policemen, who you see on our everyday streets, really don't wear guns. You don't see guns on their hips. They carry a taser, which is not a gun. It's more like that electric wire that goes and gives a shock to whoever they want to subdue. The only place where I have seen cops in New Zealand having guns, I think, in public, and without no emergency, I think was at the Auckland airport, international airport. I think because aircraft and and people coming in and stuff like. That. I think that's the only place in New Zealand where I've seen policemen actually wearing guns in public visibility. But otherwise, the guns are at the back of the car, and they'll probably take it out only if there's an emergency requirement for them. So, so safety-wise, we are very high. We don't have a little unfortunate level of lower crime like burglaries. I mean, yeah. So I don't want to make it sound like it's like complete paradise. Even paradise will have a few glitches here and there. So there are sometimes a few burglaries. And on weekends, when people are getting drunk in the city, there are a few fights and fist fights and stuff like that. There's the odd stabbing. Yeah, but as long as you're sensible and you stay away from places like that, and so safety is very, very high here. And like I said, we don't have a gun culture here. And after the terror attack in Christchurch, which was perpetrated by one individual who was not even a New Zealander, he came from some other country, and then he decided he'll kill a few people. So after that, the gun control has become even more stricter. So we don't really have guns in public anyway. Racism, I think racism will exist everywhere there are people of different skin colors. So that's just the way the world is. But it's not very overt in New Zealand because I think this is also a country that is built on a very strong bicultural platform because the local indigenous population is called Maori, and they're also brown skinned, and then of course the Europeans came, and then they kind of had to coexist. So there was a tussle, there was a power struggle between the Europeans and the Maori, and once both parties realized that you really can't win over the other. They created something called the Treaty of Waitangi, which is where all the Maori tribes and the Europeans came together or sat at a table and at a place called Waitangi, and that's why it's called the Treaty of Waitangi, and wrote a document to say, hey, you know what, this is how we will coexist and live together. So the Treaty of Waitangi is actually our constitution now, and that's what sets us. So this is probably one of those few places on earth where, when Europeans came over and they did not uh, completely subjugate the thing, but kind of ended up in a kind of almost a co-governing kind of a situation, because of which I think the acceptance of other skin colors is a lot higher, and which is why I don't really find racism to be an issue here. Racism is also a bit of a subjective thing. I think it also depends on how you interact with the society you're around with. I have, like I said, lived 20, 21 years now, and hardly ever. I can think of one incident, but I mean, it looked like a young drunken fellow who was just shouting something. So you can't take those into consideration, really. Um, but otherwise, no, I have some great friends from both the European community and the Maori community. In fact, I went and I can tell my, yeah. So you see the certificates on top there. So one of them is two of them actually are my. I went to do a course in Maori language and Maori culture. So it's called Tikanga, which is like the customs and traditions. So, and I was the only non Maori or non white. I was the only Indian guy there, and I was so accepted. I became part of the family. So no, very very accepting culture as well. So quickly switching over to say if I have any questions on YouTube. Okay, so Stanley Murphy says, what sort of benefits would I get if I do my study in New Zealand? So, Stanley, you would get the benefits of being eligible for a post-study work visa if you do the right level of course, and depending on which course, whether you're doing a master's or a postgraduate diploma, or which particular subject you're choosing, you will get something called the post-study work visa. And once you take up the post-study work visa, then you're basically allowed to work, and if you can pick up a job that's relevant to the course that you've just completed in New Zealand, then and you get the right salary bracket and wage at the correct wage level, then you could apply for something called the accredited employer work visa, or you can apply for something called the resident visa and go on to live in New Zealand as a resident, which will then become a permanent resident and then will become a citizen and enjoy the beauty of this country and all the joys and benefits it gives, like how it has done to me for the last 21 years. So those are the benefits, Stanley. But like I said, this is a very brief online interaction, so I can't get too much into the details. But if you look at the comments just about yourself, there is Rishikesh who came to New Zealand. It looks like he came to New Zealand through AJV Global, and thank you, Rishikesh, for paying us your compliment and saying thanks to your team. I'm here. He has done that symbol. Okay, I'm doing the same, Rishikesh. So no, thank you, Rishikesh, for choosing to come through us. And he says it was a bit of a wait, but he is obviously living here now and got his residence, and so people like that can comment and say, Rishikesh, if you have some comments to offer Stanley, please go ahead and and type saying, because he says what sort of benefits. You'll get plenty of benefits. You'll get health benefits, you'll get fee benefits, you'll get accident benefits, you get, if you're looking at the physical benefits, but at a higher level, at a psychological, spiritual benefit level, like I said, safety, security, a non-corrupt society. We are also always one of the least corrupt countries on earth. If you look at that rating from Transparency International, which is an organization which conducts a global survey every year to see which countries are the most corrupt and which are the least corrupt. New Zealand is always in the top two or three of the least corrupt. World Bank rates us always as the ease of doing business. And I'm sure if you keep going into various other, ratings by various independent agencies, I think New Zealand stands well above. I think what I like to say about New Zealand is that we actually punch very well above our weight. I mean, look at the Olympics. We per capita, I think we win more medals than any other country per capita. It's like not that we win the most, but I know per capita we win. There's another interesting fact: per capita, we own the most aircraft in this world. So it's like but the more New Zealanders own aircraft per capita than any other, and things like flying and playing golf and all that, which are considered elitist in other countries, is not a big deal. I'm learning flying, by the way. There's been a break because of COVID, but I go play golf whenever I feel like. It's like what, $20 at the course, so it's like really not a big deal. So yeah, so this country really has made it simple, nice, and easy to live, and provides opportunities for people with the right skills, knowledge, and attitude. I do not want to excuse me, sell New Zealand. Nobody should oversell anything, But I think the fact is that if you have the right skills, knowledge, and attitude, this is a fantastic place. Because also it's a smaller country and it's only 5.5 million people population wise. So you're kind of not lost in the crowd. So if you're one of those people who wants to make a mark, so you're not lost in the midst of a billion people like in India or China or millions and millions of people, hundreds of millions of people like other countries. So you could potentially have the opportunity to become a big fish in a small pond. So that really might be the biggest benefit of wanting to live in New Zealand. So yeah, but even if you don't want to be a big fish and you don't want to end up with big fortunes and fame and glory and all that kind of stuff, if you just want to lead a simple, happy, ordinary, happy, contented, satisfied life, this is the place. This is the place. Temperature is quite amenable as well. We don't have like I live in Hamilton. We don't get snow and stuff like that here. So it's actually quite temperate. And again, a lot of people don't get it, but we are on the Auckland and I think Cape Town are in South Africa are on the same latitudes. And a lot of people don't realize that. So we are not a part of Antarctica. We're definitely not a part of Australia. But yeah, we're our own little country with a lot of beauty, good clean government. I'm fortunate to have some friends who work in the parliament as members of parliament. Um, yeah, I get involved with lots of stuff, local cricket. I'm into filmmaking, by the way. So 2 weeks back, I was able to indulge in that passion of mine as well. So my passions are traveling, long drives, motorsport, reading, writing, cricket, filmmaking. So I actually made 2 short films in New Zealand. No problem. I've written a couple of books. No problem. I've begun to learn to fly. No problem. I've done all the adventures possible, bungee, skydive, da da da. No problem. I continue to play cricket actively at 53 years of age. No problem. Um, what else? Yeah, my kids drive in their own car. They're no longer, yeah. So, good question from Nitish. And so, anyway, I'll just go back to Stanley quickly. I'm currently doing my bachelor in civil engineering and teaching. Looking forward to come and study. Thank you, Stanley. Please get in touch with us. Just send your biodata whenever you're ready to info@ajvglobal.com, and we'll get on the phone, speak to you, or Skype, or WhatsApp, or whatever. So Nitish has asked a very nice question. He says, what are some of the negative sides of New Zealand which you feel we should be aware about? Cost of living is one which is all over the news. Absolutely, Nitish. There has been of late this big discussion around the cost of living in New Zealand. And that is, yeah, that is because we practically import everything into New Zealand, because we are this little island country far away from the rest of the world. And because of our environmental factors, which is another big thing globally now, everybody wants to talk about, environmental issues. So because New Zealand is quite conscious about environment, and but because of that, we don't have a huge manufacturing base in this country, which is why we have to import a lot of our goods from various countries, and which obviously will add to the cost of living. And there's also, I think, just two large companies which are kind of controlling all the supply of especially groceries into the supermarket. So the government is aware of it, and they're trying to see if they can break this duopoly, not monopoly, duopoly. So yeah, cost of living is a little high. And there's also been in the news that the prices of houses have gone up, but now there is a correction that's happening. It's not kind of now getting more sedate. So they're doing things all the time. But you're right, yeah, cost of living is one. Unfortunately, there is a couple of other bad statistics about New Zealand because I spoke about the good side, but again, also have bad side. I can give some not so good things about New Zealand. It seems we also have one of the highest rates of domestic violence in the country, in the world. Sorry, which is again not a good thing. But again, I guess each individual family, and that's something you can control it. If it's your family, like how I have my wife and three children. So domestic violence, we seem to have a bit of a problem. There seems to be a bit of a problem of late with meth, which is the drug, and that seems it looks like a lot of these cartels from other parts of the world are now targeting New Zealand. But again, it doesn't really affect people in the I don't know how do I put it, everyday life. Yeah, there is a bit of a meth addiction problem, so that is one. But I think just for people like you and me who come from as migrants, I think what we need to be worried about is, will I get jobs? Yes, you will find jobs if you're, like I said, yeah, the skills, attitude, and knowledge. Racism is not very high. You can live in a good neighborhood, which means you'll be away from all that stuff. So, yeah, but you're right. Cost of living is definitely an issue in New Zealand. But I think it's only fair you pay a premium to live in a country which is as good as any Western country, minus the gun culture and the really bad crimes and stuff like that. So yeah, so there's always the give and take, Nitish, and and how you find the balance. Hope I answered that. So I have KTM Royal Army, sir. I want to know about hospitality management in course in New Zealand, and can we get placement or work permit visa after finishing diploma 5 and 6? So again, it's very difficult to know what your names are. KTM Royal Army. I'll just call you KTM. So yeah, I mean, hospitality is one of our biggest industries here, KTM, because New Zealand is also very strong as a tourist pulling destination. In fact, I think it's tourism before COVID was, I think, our second largest industry. And I think our first largest industry was dairy. We make a lot of dairy products and export it. And international education and migration was, I think, number four. So yeah, good scope, KTM, for hospitality. In fact, we've helped a lot of people with the hospitality background to come to New Zealand. Will you get a work visa, post-study work visa after you finish your diploma of 5 and 6? Depends on which course, which college, and where you're going to. There are some certain colleges. I can talk about PIMS in New Plymouth, Pacific Institute of Hotel Management Studies, which is a great bloody school, and I recommend it quite highly. So you could potentially, get into a course, because I know they also have internships in their courses. So KTM, like I said, at the basic level, yes, we need hospitality uh, workers in New Zealand. Uh, and if you want to explore this further, please send your CV to info@agvglobal.com. One of my team members will get in touch and will take it forward from there. Yeah, cool. Right, one more question from YouTube. So Gracious85, hi Gracious. Sir, I have NZQS7. I'm a doc. What other subjects I can enroll as a doc, which will benefit me to do good in future in New Zealand, as I'm about to apply in a uni there. So, Gracious, it looks like you're saying that you're already a doctor. And if you have an NZQS7, it means that you already have a bachelor's at the least, it looks like. So, which other subjects I can enroll as a doctor, which will benefit me to do future? I mean, if you're already a trained doctor, and that's what I can infer from your comment is that you're already a doctor. Uh, See, again, health sciences is a skill shortage here in our country, and so we would like you to come and pursue something in health sciences, medicine, aged care is a big thing for us because we're a true welfare society, and because of which we do pay taxes to support our older generations. I would say stick to your health sciences if you're already a doctor, and if you say, "What other subjects can I enroll which will benefit me to do good in future in New Zealand?" I don't know. I mean, it could be your individual interest. I mean, I had a friend who was a doctor back in the day, but his real passion was 3D animation. So what he did was he did not practice as a doctor, even though he was qualified as a doctor. He went and did a course in 3D animation. But he was so intelligent, he combined his 3D animation skills and his doctor's knowledge and set up a company which made 3D animations of the human body and physiology and stuff like that. So there could be various options, Gracious. And the other thing I like about New Zealand is that it also allows you to be who you are. So you don't have to always stick to the same rut. Like I said, I mean, guys, I'm extraordinarily brutally honest with all the people who listen to my broadcasts. Is if I had a chance, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now, which is to be an immigration advisor. I would not. If I really had the choice, I would be writing books or making movies. That's because that's my first passion, and that's where I am able to get that little breaks in New Zealand. But yeah, choose your passion. You're simply by the right age to make a decision. But send us an email with your CV and allow us to talk to you, and we will go from there. Okay. Omar, I have a Kiwi friend who will sponsor me with free accommodation in her house. But her house is 2 hours drive. Will that be a problem for INZ? No, I don't see. I don't see any reason why that will be a problem. But again, pesky immigration officer might say, but if you're getting free accommodation and a friend who's 2 hours away, but bear in mind, you will be not going to university every day. So if you can manage it, but you haven't mentioned, Umar, if you're applying through AGV Global, you want some good, serious, honest opinion about all this, please send your CV to AJV to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will have a chat with you. No obligations. You don't have to pay us anything, and no pressure from us saying, "Oh, you have to only apply through us." None of it. If you want to come through us, great, because you'll get a lot of other benefits once you reach here, including getting all our onshore support. But if you want to continue but just want to have a chat, go for it. But yeah, I mean, it's a 50-50 because 2 hours away from the university, it might be a problem in the view of a visa officer, but it may not be a problem if it is presented properly. Okay, hopefully I answered it, sir. But please, I'm gonna type. Hey guys, all of you who are watching this live broadcast, and if you want to get more information, please send your contact details and your CV. And right. I'm quickly switching over to Facebook because I was looking at. Okay, and my colleague also says I must share. So if you guys are watching this from India, we have a talk because India is one of our largest markets. Not that we work with only with Indian clients. We work with clients from. We've had clients from China, Vietnam, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Africa, South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, Dubai, Qatar, Colombia, Argentina, US. So we work with everybody. But because India is our largest market, we do have a toll-free number there. You can also. Right. So I'm just pasting our toll-free number. So we have two toll-free numbers in India and in New Zealand. So you guys can call us. But you know what? Just send us an email with your CV, and that's probably the easiest way. Then, because if we have your number, then we can connect with you on WhatsApp or so. Email your CV with contact number to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will connect and advise free of cost. We can't start charging you from day one, right? Can we? Right. So Darshan Ukhani from on Facebook has sent a message. In order to get the PR, one should work only related to the course studied in New Zealand or based on previous offshore experience job area. Would also consider that. And the simple answer to that, Darshan, is yes. You don't have to necessarily only pick up a job that you is related to the course. I mean, like if you have previously had, let's say, work experience as an IT person, and then you came to do a management course in New Zealand, and then you found a job as an IT person. Absolutely, there are ways and means of presenting that case to immigration, and but again, that's where a good company like HAV Global has to come into the picture, because it's about writing that. It's about presenting your case, to immigration in a coherent, understand. You got to understand, visa officers deal with hundreds of applications, and so they don't have the time to go through each. Excuse me. Most applicants think that a visa officer is dedicated only to their application. Not true. Visa officers deal with hundreds of applications, and so they can't really differentiate your application from another one unless it is presented well, clearly, coherently, and that's what HAV Global does. And that's why we tell people to, work with us. Yeah, it'll cost you money. It's not free. But hey, for whatever little money you pay, you're getting an entire future in New Zealand. So I think it's a very, very small trade-off. So I don't know if you're already in New Zealand, Darshan. I can't see where you're from. But if you're already in New Zealand, I would suggest that you call us on our toll-free number. And I don't know if you're in India, you can call that toll-free number. But yeah, that's probably the best thing to do for you at this stage. Right, and my dear friend Sagar Naresh Sringarpure, say home, my friend, my dear friend Sagar. This guy is one of our HAV clients, one of the most energetic people I ever met in my life. And this guy is an absolute live wire, Sagar. And Sagar says, you can still write a book about your journey at Great Barrier Islands with a yacht. Will do. You drive the yacht and I'll write the book, Sagar. Long time since we caught up. Let's catch up. Sagar is one of my clients who came to New Zealand and has done extraordinarily well. And very, very proud of him. And he's a true symbol of how New Zealand can provide the good platform for people to flower and just be themselves. Sagar is definitely one of those people. Thanks, buddy, for being part of our family. Chanel says, I've completed master's in IT in Fiji. I have 10 years experience. Do you recommend a course in IT that works with green list, struggling to get a job offer from offshore? Chanel, very good question. And I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah, I know I get a lot of inquiries from people who are already have a lot of experience, but, and they keep applying to New Zealand, employers saying, can I get a job? But unfortunately, you've got to understand that most employers don't know how immigration works. So they're like, okay, the guy's got a good CV, but he's not in New Zealand, and I don't know how immigration works. So even if I make a job offer to this guy, will he be able to come and join? So they just take the easy human way out, and they're just lazy, and they say, yeah, I'd rather not talk to somebody who is overseas. But if you work through a company like AJV Global, and we can then tell you, because it's not just one pathway, it's not always study and settle. You can come in as an investor, you can come as an entrepreneur, you can come in if you do get a direct job offer, which is very, very rare. In my career, I've seen it happen very, very few times. Very rare, mostly because New Zealand employers don't understand how immigration works. But that's a pathway. If you're at study and settle is one pathway. So there are various pathways into New Zealand. So what I would recommend, Shanil, is again, email your CV to ajvglobal.com and sorry, info@ajvglobal.com. Jyoti, if you're still listening, maybe you can type those things for me. That's ajvglobal.com. One sec. I'm just going to. I can't do too many things at the same times, people. I'm only human being. As much as I'd like to think I'm Superman, I'm not. Right. So Shanil, just send us your email, and because you're based in Fiji, one of our team members from New Zealand will connect. And Sagar says, agree. Okay, buddy boy, I'm still waiting to see you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You only talk. You never come to Hamilton and see me. But I'm going to be there soon. So yeah, in Auckland. So let's connect. Right. So I seem to have done all the questions on Facebook. Oh, okay, there's another one from Prashant Chauhan. And the straight to residency is must need to 10 years of experience. I just doubt on it. I don't think so, Prashant. It's not necessary that it's not always. But again, like you said, this is not a forum and where I can talk about details of each policy, because I'll be honest, I haven't read the policy very clearly, and you guys need to understand that I'm the founder and director of this company, and we have a big team, and there are a lot of people who do the actual applications and unfortunately, because of that, I am not always fully familiar with each and every sentence and word of the current law. But yeah, which is why I don't want to give a straight answer right now, Prashant. Please send your CV, or if you're in New Zealand already, just give us a call on our uh, toll free number, which is 0800 696977, which stands for 0800 MY NZ PR. So that's how we came up with that number. So yeah, yeah, we are very smart people. Hmm. So Faisal again is asking me a reasonably in-depth query. Faisal, like I said, these are not places to discuss in-depth queries like that, Faisal, for two reasons. One, I will not be able to go into details with you. Plus, it's not good for you to share your personal details on a public forum. Saying that you want to fund part of it with from what dad got from a property sale and things like that. So I'd say just send us, trust us, guys. We will, just because you send us your CV, we will not kind of call and hound you and say, oh, no, you have to work and become a client. We're not people like that. I've led a good, honest life where I don't have to hound anybody to do anything. We are here because we want to provide genuine, honest information and advice to genuine, honest people. And if you deserve it, we will give it to you. And if you think we can help you, send us a CV. If you're already working with somebody else, all the best. Work with them, and hopefully they should have answered all these questions. But just remember, working with AGV Global means that you're coming into a country where, see, I live, my co-director lives, my senior team lives here. We are all in New Zealand, and we conduct get-togethers for our all our clients regularly. We meet them, we talk to them, we have fun, we go out on picnics, we connect them to each other, we help them find part-time jobs and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all it is. Avijit Lakhani says, applied for my visa on 12th August for Masters of Marketing. I haven't received that information. Who can I reach out? Avijit, if you're working with AJV Global, just reach out to your case officer. I'm not sure if you're working with AJV Global. That's another thing, guys. If you want me to give precise answers, please mention if you're working with AJV Global. Avijit, I don't know. I mean, please forgive me for not knowing because again, I can't keep track of every person who is applying through AJV Global. So, but if you're applying through AJV Global, Avijit, pick up the phone and speak to your case officer. If you still have trouble, send me an email and I will take care of it. I give you my word. If you are an AJV Global client, if you're not, then check with whoever you're working with as a company, and they should be able to escalate it. And yeah, but if you've applied on your own, then it's a bit more tricky because you can't really reach out to the. I mean, but if you've applied through AGV Global, we have our own contacts where we can kind of write a few emails and try and find out what is happening. All right, Avijit, you haven't mentioned so. Yeah. Warren Turkey. Hey, Aaron, got in touch with AGV first in Feb 2020, just before the borders closed. After more than 2 years, Fun City, I'm still there. I'm also so happy, Warren. You won't believe it because Feb 2020, we guys were like bloody flying high. I just sponsored a test match between India and New Zealand in Christchurch. So I was there in my suit and my jacket and like, oh, this is going to be the big year for us. And then the whole damn thing just went down south. So, but thank you, Varun, for continuing to keep your interest. Appreciate that you're still, keeping in touch with us by following our online stuff and things like that. And we would love to work with you. Least of all, not for the fact that Varun and Arun are very rhyming names. Love to have you here, Mike. So if you're in touch with AJV Global already, please continue to speak to your advisor. Otherwise, send your CV one more time to info@ajvglobal.com and we'll pick up that thread of communication again. But we would love to welcome you into New Zealand. Right, Faisal, all done. And I can see my team member is posting constant. Right, looks like I'm pretty much done with everybody. Okay, docs. So, hey guys, thank you for today. What time did I start? 6:30. Okay, so, whoa, I spoke for an hour, which isn't a bad thing at all. But you know what? I like coming online like this and speaking to all of you because going abroad is not an easy process. It takes a lot of doing, and you require good advice. And which is where people like us are. I'm called. See, I have this thing called a license. Oops. Yeah, there you go. New Zealand licensed immigration advisor. There's a expert. So we are trained. We are trained. We are, to ensure that you're getting the right advice, the most up to date advice, and for me, it's important as the guy who started this company that we don't just give you good advice and service and a process only when you're starting from your country, but especially more after you land in New Zealand. And as I keep saying, the real drama starts after you land in a new country. It is like, there's one of my jokes about this industry or about the lifespan of a migrant. People think applying for a visa and getting it and getting on that flight and taking selfies, putting it on Facebook and saying, "Yeah, I moved to New Zealand," they think is like done, task is done. They don't understand the real bloody drama starts after you land in New Zealand. Because then after, it's like honeymoon is over, marriage will start. The honeymoon will last another 2 weeks and then it'll start. The marriage will start. He'll have to get adjusted to the new environment, to finding a job, to making sure you're conserving your money, to making sure you're fitting into your, the new environment and all this stuff. That is when you require some really good friends. And that is what HAV Global is to all our clients. We are your friends. When you land here, we'll be your friends, with 21 years of experience, other colleagues who have been here longer. My co-director is, by the way, an ex-diplomat of New Zealand. And he worked with as a diplomat of New Zealand. So he's here, I'm here, we're all there, and we're just ordinary people. We don't sit in high towers where we don't go out and meet our friends and our clients and our families. No, we do that all the time. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this. I hope I have answered all your questions. And another colleague of mine who, not realizing I'm on a live session, has just said hi to me. Right. So, the last question before I start. Sir, my name is Jagan from India. I had completed BA Computer Science Engineering in Tamil Nadu. I'm interested in hospital management. Interesting. So, Jagan has completed Computer Science Engineering in Tamil Nadu, and he is now interested in hospital management. That's a very interesting choice, Jagan. I'm not saying it's a wrong choice. It's a very interesting choice because, BA Computer Science Engineering and hospital management are like chalk and cheese. They're two very, very different things. So we would like to understand more and see why you are planning to make this very dramatic shift from computer science engineering into hospital management. What is the reason? Does your family own a hospital? And did they realize that they put you into the wrong course because now there is nobody to take over the family hospital eventually? Or is it your personal interest to be involved with hospitals, but your family forced you to become an engineer? I don't know. I can only guess. So please connect with us, Jagan. Send your CV to us to info@hjvglobal.com, and it looks like you're based in India. I'll make sure one of our senior people speaks to you. And because, again, as advisors, it is not just somebody comes and say, "Oh, yeah, your name is Jagan, you want to do hospital management? Okay, here, take this. This is the, it should not work like that. We the word advisor is a very meaningful and a very deep word. So talk to us. We would like to understand more. Why is it that you're taking such a dramatic leap from BA Computer Science Engineering into hospital management? And if you convince us, trust me, we will do everything possible to get you in there. Because if you convince us, then we can convince a visa officer. But if you can't convince us, then we can't convince the visa officer. But if you say, no, these are my reasons why I want to let go of BA Computer Science Engineering, or for all I know, you might say, I want to get into hospital management, but focus more on, computer systems for hospital management, then there is still a relationship there. But we need to talk to you before we can give you that advice. Okay, Jagan, hope I made sense. Thank you for retracting your other question where you said, you're not answering my question. I can only speak for 1 hour, my friend. Varun, thank you so much for continuing to be in our AGV Global family. I look forward to working with you. 32 is a beautifully young age. You're talking to a 53-year-old guy. I'll be 54 in a few weeks' time. And yeah, and I'm sure this course is the beginning of something beautiful for you. And for, if you're not married already, for your future family. If you're married already, for your spouse and the kids, I'm sure it'll be good. And I really look forward to catching up with you. Okay. So, all right, people, had a good session, and I hope all of you had fun. One last time, please email your CVs to info@ajvglobal.com or call our toll-free numbers, whether you're in India or New Zealand, and or connect with us on Facebook, Instagram. I think we are all over the place. My wonderful marketing team does a lot of good work. So, yeah. Thank you so much. Lovely to speak to all of you. Take care. Bye.